Coming up on the Angle Show, we're talking about the real potential possibilities of CM Punk returning to WWE. There's some new reports. We got to talk about it, and it's coming up right here on TAS. All right, guys, I want to kick things off with some AEW news. Not necessarily shocking, but disappointing, but I think I understand. I want to have this conversation because AEW canceled plans between Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland. Now, as a reminder, because this video is being published September 5th, 2023, maybe you guys don't necessarily remember this, but there was a lot of potential in this singles feud. And it's because they did this for over a few months. Swerve and Our Glory broke up on December 21st, 2022. And unfortunately, they never had a payoff. Now, keep in mind, they won the tag team championships. They were great as a tag team. And look, I got a lot of heat at the beginning, right? Maybe you guys remember this. Maybe you don't. I'm going to refresh your memory. I got a lot of heat because I said when AEW brought in Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland, those are guys I look at holding world championships in AEW. When you look at how AEW launched and their vision that they promised us fans, and I saw Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland get signed, I said, man, these guys could be world champions. I don't want to see them as tag team. I don't want to see that. They gave it to us. Okay, cool. I got the heat. I saw a lot of people talking shit. People thought I was a hater. I wasn't being a hater. I just valued these guys a lot higher than a tag team. Nonetheless, AEW gives us Swerve and Our Glory, and good golly gosh, they were insanely awesome as a tag team. They were. That's the reality. I was wrong. I still think they're good world championship quality guys, but I was wrong about them being in a tag team because they were great. Now, to refresh your memory, I had a lot of heat. A lot of people gave me shit for it. I stood my ground, but nonetheless, I was a very big fan of what they were doing as a tag team. When they won the tag team championships, I said, wow, these guys add a lot of credibility to the tag team division, which already has so much credibility. And then the reality is they decide to go the route with Swerve going into Mogul Embassy. Now, the thing is, when you look at Swerve and what they were doing, they brought in Trench and they brought in the guy that used to be in NXT, Harland, which was Parker Boudreaux. And obviously, we don't see Parker. We don't see Trench in AEW. Trench is gone from AEW. I honestly don't even know if Parker's still within the company, but they go this new route. And I'm like, wow, this actually has some potential. Like, there is something cool here. I kind of dig it. Great use of Parker Boudreaux. You know, like, it was a good, you put these young guys who are obviously working on their craft, you put them with Swerve. They never give us a singles match. They never give us a payoff. And the worst thing is they did it for months and months. And then what's really interesting is now Meltzer and Brian Alvarez were talking about this, basically stating that AEW just dropped the plans. They nixed the plans for doing this. And look, it's September 5th, 2023. They could have done it at Full Gear. They could have done it at Revolution. They could have done it at any of these pay-per-views. They chose not to. They didn't do it. And, you know, it's unfortunate. That's the reality. It's unfortunate. They spent a lot of time on this feud. They never gave us a payoff. And look, I think what Swerve is doing these days is incredible. I do. I love it. It's one of the things that I'm liking about his specific story on AEW. Like, if there's one thing I'm enjoying with AEW, I like the MJF, Adam Cole stuff. I love the Swerve, Strickland, Brian Cage, Prince Nana. I love the affiliation there. But I look at Keith Lee, and I don't feel like these guys have been absolutely maximized to their abilities. I mean, even if you don't see them as world championship guys, I think Keith Lee could be a great TNT champion. I think Swerve Strickland could be a great international champion. In the meantime, while you're waiting for somebody to dethrone MJF, the reality is right now at this stage of the game, it seems like AEW has put a ceiling on both of them. And it's unfortunate. And if you don't like that, if that pisses you off that I see more for these guys, if that angers you, if that offends you, you're mad at the fact that I think that these guys are so good and they could be doing much more than what they're doing. If that bothers you, that's not a me problem. That's a you problem. I think these guys are great. I would like to see them booked better. And I feel like Swerve has been definitely killing it. I feel like Keith Lee hasn't been really given the chance. But at the same time, too, there's talks of maybe some like personal issues or health issues. I don't like to speculate on that stuff. I don't want to talk about that stuff. That's not in my best interest. If there is some health issues for Keith Lee that is getting in the way, then I would much rather prefer that he is healthy before we could talk about world championships and stuff like that. But if we go back to the days of when they signed and when they joined AEW, I just felt like these guys always could have been a lot better utilized. Guys, WWE delivers record-setting numbers for Payback. Obviously, this is not shocking, especially because it's been so long since WWE did a Payback pay-per-view. But the reality here is that WWE continues this incredible trend with their business. Their business model's working. Television is off to a really, really just great amount of success. But Payback delivered records in viewership, attendance, merchandise sales. The show has so many people there. And the good news here is that, honestly, Payback was a card. I watch weekly television. They built towards Payback, okay? I wouldn't say it was a fantastic build, but by no means was it a weak build. I think it was just very clearly a B pay-per-view. And I didn't know if people would actually be interested in Payback. Now, if you watched my Payback review that we did live, TAS Live, it was a very fun review show. It was a great time with everybody. I gave a lot of praise to WWE Payback. I said it was a fun pay-per-view. Triple H and the WWE have figured out a way creatively to make their pay-per-views feel special. A lot of it has to do with pace. A lot of it has to do with quality. I think not having 20 million matches has worked out in their favor. It gives everybody time to shine. Yeah, not every match is going to hit. Not everybody's going to have this incredibly amazing match. But I really respected the fact that Payback had a lot of logic. It kept things going. There's a lot of intrigue after Payback. It was very evident by watching WWE Raw that this is leading to something even greater. I think Payback was a great pay-per-view. And I think WWE has found themselves a model where they continue to do extremely well based on the fact that all they're doing is just making their programs mean something. And you can tell that every single week if you watch wrestling, and this is just the reality. If you want to accept it, you can. If you don't want to accept it, you don't have to. But the reality is every single week on television, a lot of things that are happening on TV, whether you like it or not, has a purpose, okay? And I think that's a massive, massive, massive point that I need to make when talking about WWE creating record-setting numbers. I think WWE has gotten to the point now where it's evident little details matter. The little Easter eggs are there. Now, keep in mind, viewership of Payback was up 36% versus the previous record, which was set in 2016. They had 12,468 in attendance. It marked the largest gate ever for a Payback, which was up 13% versus the prior record set in Chicago in 2016. Payback also became the highest grossing WWE event ever held in Pittsburgh. That crowd was fantastic. Very, very good crowd. WWE, I hope you reward them with another pay-per-view. I think if these crowds are coming out, they're having a good time, they're adding that element of excitement to the show, bring back the pay-per-views there. Try to beat your own record yet again, because I think that's a great thing. Also, keep in mind, WWE's got their partnership with Fanatics, but merchandise sales were also up 182% versus the previous record set in 2017. And it broke their all-time event merchandise record, which is obviously a big deal because you're trying to monetize multiple different ways. 2023 Payback was also the most viewed social playback of all time with a combined 146 million social views, which was up 44% from the previous record set in 2020. The most viewed moment across social platforms was Cody Rhodes announcing Jey Uso would be joining the Monday Night Raw roster. I mean, those numbers are great. That tells me that Jey Uso is incredibly popular. We know that Cody Rhodes is incredibly popular, but maybe this could lead to some great things for Jey Uso. And that brings us to our final topic of today's video, guys. CM Punk reportedly interested in a WWE return. Okay, so here's the deal. You're seeing a lot of mixed reports right now. You're seeing a lot of reports. You're seeing some stuff from Fightful Select. You may have heard about it, where CM Punk originally tried to come to AEW. There was something there about CM Punk potentially being in the Royal Rumble, potentially building towards a match at WrestleMania with Kevin Owens. We're not talking about that tonight. Today, what we're talking about is a new report that came from Slice Wrestling. Now, as I've said in the past, when it comes to pro wrestling news, Slice Wrestling in the past, we've done videos. I tried to talk about multiple stories. Slice has dropped some news that has been accurate. Now, what's the accuracy rate? I don't know, but based on the fact that I've seen Fightful talk about CM Punk having interest in WWE and WWE having interest in CM Punk, I wanted to read this to you guys because I thought it was interesting. Slice Wrestling reached out to both WWE and AEW sources regarding this topic, and here's what we discovered. AEW sources indicated that CM Punk is indeed done with AEW and is looking for a buyout, as we previously reported, and that CM Punk's legal team is in the middle of legal litigation with AEW's legal team in relation to his remaining contract. The legal situation could take days or months depending on how both sides end up agreeing. CM Punk wants full buyout from his remaining AEW contract, which could also be almost $6 million. And AEW is arguing he violated terms and conditions when the physical altercation happened at All In. Now onto the WWE side. Slice Wrestling's WWE sources indicated to us that CM Punk and Triple H have had multiple conversations over the last 2 years, and it was reiterated to us that CM Punk and UFC actually have a very good relationship. UFC and WWE, which is both owned by Endeavor, will play a huge part in this, as they are ultimately calling the shots with all things WWE UFC. Here is where it all becomes interesting. In April 2023, CM Punk randomly showed up backstage at an episode of Monday Night Raw in Chicago. It is said that WWE talents allowed Punk backstage, where he briefly spoke with The Miz and Triple H. It is here where he expressed his desire to return to WWE and asked if he could speak with Hunter privately. There's a little bit more to the story, guys. Check it out on Slice. I mean, does it really seem that far-fetched? Does it really seem that much out of the realm? I don't think so. I don't think it's out of the realm at all. We talked about this when CM Punk did visit WWE. When those videos and pictures of him with Tamina outside, going into the arena, things like that, I think it was very evident that CM Punk wanted it. We talked a little bit about this last night on the Monday Night Raw review. It's okay. CM Punk should go to WWE. It's okay. Guys, top people are going to leave WWE for AEW. Some people from AEW are going to go to WWE. The world, it's life goes on. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think WWE, realistically, based on what I'm seeing from Fightful and what I'm seeing from Slice and what I'm seeing from all these other people, Boozer Wrestling also hinting at some things, I think it is very, very realistic that CM Punk could come back to WWE. Just as it's very realistic that Edge could go to AEW. Mercedes Moné going to AEW. Keep in mind, Slice also reported about Mercedes going to AEW and building a program with Jade Cargill, and that does appear to be the case. So again, if we're questioning accuracy, I mean, you're never going to be 100% sure. Always take things with a grain of salt, but it's a very interesting conversation to be had. Do you want CM Punk back in the WWE? I think it doesn't really matter at this point. I think they should do it, just like I think AEW should continue to keep on going and keep moving on, move on past this, let it become WWE's problem if he's going to be problematic. Let me know what you guys think down below.